Okay, welcome everyone. Let's get right into the stock market charts. Try to find some trade ideas and really using technical analysis to really analyze these stocks. So starting off here, I'm going to start off with Amazon because Amazon's going to report earnings after the close today. You can see down here they've got earnings coming out. We don't know how the earnings are going to come out. The one thing I can tell you about Amazon, things to watch for, is we do have negative divergence. So that's telling me that there's likely going to be a down move in Amazon. The earnings are going to be negative. And we also have really this former high. I can even get, I've got it kind of circled. We've made a new high in this recent area, but I'm looking at this level 3554, 3,554. That's your former high. We tested it twice. We tested it back here on September 2nd and then again here on April 30th. 21, and we broke above. So we have two tests. We have a breakout above that. We have a back test of that level, and then still holding above that. So price action's bullish, but that negative divergence tells me that there's a high probability that this breakout is actually going to be faded, and we're going to break back below that former high, putting in a bull trap. Okay, so that's really all I see until we see how the earnings are traded. We won't know what this actually is, but if I see a breakdown back below that level, then we have to treat this as a bull trap, and that would tell me that we're likely actually heading down to the bottom of the range, which is 2,925. And then below that, we also have kind of major support. It's outlined here in red. If I go back to you can see it on the weekly chart for Amazon. This is going back to 2008, and this is your bull market in Amazon since the Great Recession lows. So you can see we tagged support here, So that would be another level to watch for major support. And yeah, that's what we're going to look for on Amazon. We'll see how the earnings come out. Okay, so I want to flip over to a more interesting sector today, which is gold and the gold miners. They're all having a really good day. I want to point out what I'm seeing. Again, on this channel, I've been talking about how gold and the gold miners looks like one of the more bullish setups. But we haven't actually seen the bullish price action yet. We're seeing some of that bullish price action today. So again, the setup, usually when you have a setup, that's when things start to look bullish. Usually, you want to get positioned typically before the price starts to run. And then, when we see bullish price action, it helps confirm that we're on the right side of the trade for this one. So this is gold bullion. The main thing that I've been watching is, there's a couple things I'm seeing in this chart, but one, we have a bull market. If you go back and look at the daily, we really have been uptrending cleanly for many years, but here's 2019. We held support here on the COVID drop, held support here and here back in March of 2021, and then we just hit support again right there. And in a bull market, you want to buy at major support. That's buy at support, on bull markets. In bear markets, short at resistance or sell. And so this looked like a bullish area. The other thing that came on this gold, on this low, when we hit that support, and I have it circled right here, bullish divergence. You can see here on the RSI that this low right here was a divergent low. So the momentum was starting to pick up and increase, and yet we were making a new lower low in price and hitting major support. This looked like a bullish area, kind of a buy zone to me. And I talked about that. You go back and watch the video from June 29th. You'll see how I talk about this being a area of looking like the area to be buying gold at. So far, that's proven to be right. Because if you bought at that area, this is gold bullion, but if you bought at that area, this is up almost 5%. Now, looking at the miners, we're seeing the miners break out today. Many of the miners are breaking out. Here's Barrick Gold breaking above its former resistance. We had a breakout from this recent downtrend line right here on the daily chart. And we are gapping up and looking like we're going to come fill this gap here at 2244. So I would say that's your next level of resistance. Likely get a reaction there, some sort of a pullback. But as far as I can tell, we're starting to uptrend in these miners. Looking at all these miners, Royal Gold, gapping up 3%. Here's Harmony, clearly lifting off of support. So again, Harmony Mining, HMY, wasn't, you know, there's your correction in the bull market in Harmony. Back here in July of 2020, we went into correction for many months. But down near the lows here, we started to put in bullish divergence. I have that circled. So that was an indication of a buy zone that I could tell, and I was buying this thing back here. We then broke out with, here's your buy signal or a breakout from that downtrend line, back tested the trend line once, and then came in for another back test. So this really was a gift, the second back test, as far as I can tell. We back tested into major support, and so far we're you know, bouncing off of that. So you know, from the major support area, we're up about 17.5% already off of that back test of that trend line. Looking good for continued upside in these miners. And here's another one, Agnico Eagle. Again, here's your correction, your downtrend line on the daily chart in the miners. We put in bullish divergence down here. This was a divergent low. I have it circled. And then we broke trend. You know, here's your downtrend. We broke the trend right there. There's your breakout. Came in for a series of back tests. It actually back tested for about a month or so. A little bit, about 6 weeks of back testing this trend line. And today we're gapping up 6%, basically clearing all those back tests. You know, we've got about 6 weeks of price action being taken out to the long side in one day. So very bullish breakout today. We have a gap up here at 68.38. I think it's very probable we're heading up to that gap. Probably get a little bit of a pullback up around that gap. But as far as I can tell, we had a correction, this downtrend. We broke out, and we're likely going to, you know, run up, fill the gap, maybe pull back, and off to the races we go. I don't see any reason why these miners are not going to continue what looks like the resumption of a bullish trend. Okay, let's look at some of these short ideas. Here's one, CAR, C-A-R. I've not been in this one recently. I covered that position a while ago, but I think it's looking like an opportunity to reshort the thing here pretty soon. Not quite yet, but very soon. So on CAR, you have a clear uptrend line coming off the March 2020 lows. We had negative divergence up here at the highs on this daily chart, and we had a sell signal or a break of trend. What we're getting now is the back test of that trend line. So I'd be looking to reshort CAR on a back test of the trend line whenever it may come, you know. So if we see a tag up there at that trend line, we're hitting that. That's the opportunity to reshort it. We also have earnings coming out on this thing on Tuesday, it looks like, next Tuesday. So that's likely, you know, has the potential to move this stock. And maybe it's a gap, you know, maybe earnings come out good and they gap it, move it right up into that trend line. That's your opportunity, I believe, to establish a short. Why would I want to go short and not long? Well, the major trend was broken. There's your clean uptrend line. That's broken. We're back testing right into resistance, and we have negative divergence. So, you know, if they run up and make a new high, let's say we grind around and we run up and pop it and make a new high and then fail, that will be continuation of the negative divergence. So as far as I can tell, maybe we go a little bit higher and then we're going to start to downtrend. So I'm looking at reshorting that into resistance whenever I can get that opportunity. Starbucks, still short this thing. It looks like we're still holding this island cluster reversal top pattern. So we have not filled the gap that we recently made. Looking at the hourly chart, just yesterday we gapped down and we have not filled the gap. We've really just kind of treaded water. I think we're likely going to continue to roll over as this island cluster top, I have it circled right here, starts to play out. So I am looking for more downside in this one. And that one still looks fine. Earnings are out of the way, so we don't have necessarily earnings risk or headline risk. So I think we're likely going to continue to downtrend. Again, Starbucks, just the bigger picture. We had an uptrend line in Starbucks, clean uptrend line coming off the March 2020 lows. We had negative divergence building. So there's your negative divergence on the RSI and the PPO. We broke trend here. There's your sell signal, backtest 1, backtest 2. This was a very good shorting opportunity. This is where I shorted. Go back and watch my videos from that time frame if you want to see my reasoning why I shorted that. And we've now gapped down, and I think we're likely going to continue to sell off. Again, if these concepts that I'm talking about and the strategy that I'm outlining in these videos about looking for divergences, breaking trendline support, if you're interested in getting a little more information on that, check out my course. Link in the description below. I put that course together about 1.5 years ago. It's about 5 or 6 hours of video training. I go through all kinds of technical analysis concepts and trading concepts, all covered in the course. And I charge a very valuable price at $99. The course provides a ton of value for that price, so I don't think you can miss on that one. I think that's a good deal for you. Check that out. Link in the description below. Moving on. PayPal, you can see they just reported earnings. The market didn't like what they heard, gapping down 5%. So PayPal, I talked about that in a recent video, how we made a new divergent high right here. We also on the daily chart had this uptrend line. We broke the trend and we back tested. So there's your back test right there. That was your objective area to short. And the reason why I looked to short there is we're back testing into resistance and we have clear negative divergence. Let me pop open the PPO and the RSI. Here's the RSI. You can see how it's just downtrending. So that was a divergent high, a new high in price with lower momentum, indicating a higher probability to go to the downside or a trend reversal. And sure enough, we're seeing, downward prices. So if you shorted at that back test, you would have, been profitable by about 9% so far at the absolute lows today. As far as I can tell, this is likely starting a new downtrend. And we don't know where it's going to go to, but as far as I can tell, I've got some support targets. First target of support, 276.50, and then below that, we've got about 225, about 226. So we'll watch those for the time being. And that's really all I have for today. We're going to get through Amazon. The market's likely not going to do anything major until we get through all the FANG stocks. And then it's going to probably try to decide where it wants to go. So if we're going to have some sort of broad-based sell-off, likely going to start after the Amazon earnings comes out. And we'll watch for that. So leave me a thumbs up, guys, if you find value in the content, and I'll catch you on the next one.